Fight on. Yeah, I've been waiting for this.
Welcome back to the Bottom of the Pit podcast, where we look to the moon and swap our palettes. I am, as per usual, Mick Whoopi Goldberg, and on this fine, fabulous, snowy day, I have with me, you guys know him and you love him, the one and only
It's Protege Deluxe, baby. How y'all doing? It's me. What's up?
Protege Deluxe has joined me in the booth today. How are you doing on this
I'm
fine,
good.
fine morning?
I'm good, man. Life is nice. I got the day off. Got some coffee in me. I'm nice and awake. I got to sleep in today, so I'm happy.
Nice. We all feeling good today. You know what made me feel really good today?
What's that?
I rewatched the trailer for Tekken 8 earlier,
Oh, nice.
just to refresh things,
Mm-hmm.
and I forgot how good it looked
Bro,
compared to Tekken 7.
seriously. And I thought Tekken 7 was a huge jump. Because, we know Tekken, what was it, Tekken Tag 2, it looked okay, but it was real cartoonish compared to, 6.
Yeah,
Then
6 was really
7
realistic.
Yeah, for real. But then 7 came out, and I was like, damn, okay, back to the roots. I love it. I could not fathom how good 8 was going to look, bro. That shit is sick.
So outrageous, like all like the veins and like the muscles, the way they move and stuff.
Oh, my goodness. That one scene where fucking Kazuya's about to throw a right hand, and you just see his fucking bicep pump up, and then he goes. I was like, oh, shit. Oh.
It makes you wonder when you see stuff just like that. How much farther can we push this?
Yeah.
How
honestly.
much higher can we get the graphical fidelity of this games, and how much higher should we go?
Honestly, and that's actually the thing that I'm focusing on, or the thing that I focus on the most, is how far should we go? Because then you got more realistic fighting games like what you call it, the MMA games, the UFC games that came out. You got they haven't come out anymore, but you had like Fight Night, the boxing games, and those always looked really good. You know what I mean? The character models were always dope. You could always tell who it was that you were playing as because it looked just like them. But I don't know if I want Tekken to become that. I like where it's at right now. I like how detailed everything is. It seems like when they ramp it up, they never really change what the characters look like. As realistic as it looks, you can still tell it's like an anime-based game. You know what I mean? How the characters look like people, but there's something that's like, okay, they're not people. They're very obviously a video game, and I think they should keep that.
Yeah, I agree with you. It looks like they definitely designed the characters, like the models and stuff, around like drawings first,
Yeah.
instead of like just pure like motion capture, like how Mortal Kombat does. You know, that's how they do the things like that.
Yeah.
So it's cool that they don't change these characters too drastically in that sense, because we could get, you know, super realistic, like, you know, how Street Fighter 6 is doing it, how the characters, they're drastically changed in their look to more represent their actual ethnicity. We don't see that a whole lot here. Kazuya still looks like, you know, Kazuya, and Jin looks like Jin.
I enjoy that about Street Fighter 6 though, because like I'm not, you know me, I don't really play 2D fighters like that, but art is always going to be my thing, you know what I mean? So it doesn't
Yes.
matter if I'm playing the game or not. I'm a fucking love the art direction if it's, you know, if it's somewhere that really hits that spot. And Street Fighter 6 definitely hits that spot, dude. I don't know what it was. Honestly, yeah, seeing the redesign of Ryu, where he comes out, he's all buff as always, but he's got the beard. He looks like an old Japanese dude, and I'm like, damn, okay, Ryu, you looking kind of sick. All right.
Looking pretty saucy.
Weird, man. And I never liked how, and you might disagree with me with this, most people might, but Ken and Ryu, as they're basically just a swapped version of each other, their faces have always really looked the same, and It's not like that at all in the new one at all.
No, not at all. You're right about that. They weren't afraid to take that leap.
Word, and I like it. It's good.
And I didn't think about that with Tekken until you like just said it just now. They're walking a very fine balance between realism and exaggeration right now. For
Right.
as strong as their graphics are in this moment.
Yeah, honestly, because I feel like if they wanted to, if they really wanted to, they could ramp it up if they could, like, but they're not, and I respect them for it.
Yeah, and I respect it. Because it could easily go the way of like Dead or Alive, where it's just like 3D anime characters doing stuff on the screen. But no, they're keeping things how they've been while changing things in a drastic way, I think.
Yeah, I think
certain other aspects.
I wanna, and I love that, but I wanna make sure. What am I trying to say? I guess I just gotta wait. I gotta wait to see how all the characters look, because in the last, what was it, the gameplay trailer, we only got to see a couple of them. Like we saw Lars, we saw Jack, who looks insane.
Insane.
Where, dude, that whatever that cannon thing was, what is that?
I don't know,
Also,
he just rolls into battle with it.
seriously, and can we talk about how like that's the what is it? The animations of the fights itself, of like the moves as they're going, it looks different. It doesn't look like Tekken how I'm used to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I would never call Tekken a stiff game.
Yeah.
I'll never call it like a stiff game, but it's been a game that's been building on itself for a long time, as opposed to like reinventing itself over and over again, like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat does.
Yeah.
Where they keep the core fundamentals, but everything around it changes. I feel like Tekken kind of goes in a less extreme way, where they have their fundamentals that carry over from game to game to game, but it also plays the same. You can pick up Tekken 6, and maybe not Tekken 6, that's when everyone changed pretty drastically. But you could play Tekken 4 and take some of that skill to Tekken 5 maybe, and then build on that a little bit into Tekken 6.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth.
Honestly, yeah. I feel like when I played, because 6 was the first one. I never had 5. I had 4 back on the PS2, but I got back into it around 6. And when I did, I noticed that what was it? From 6 to 7, that jump. You're right how they keep the fundamentals the same. I felt like the combos that I learned from one, I could put into the other, but then they changed really slight things. They changed the bounce system. They gave the bounce system. They gave the what is it? I don't know what to call it, but when you hit them and they do the spin in the air, you know what I mean?
Screw or whatever.
Yeah,
I've heard it called different things.
Mm-hmm. And then later on, they added even the wall bounce mechanic. You know what I mean? So it's like.
Yeah.
All that stuff that they put into it, it changed the game slightly, but enough where like if you played one of the old games again, you really notice the difference.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. So it's cool, I like where it's going right now. And from what I noticed from the trailer, I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like they are embracing a little bit more of the more outrageous aspects of the series. You see like a lot of devil powers coming from Jin and Kazuya. And like you said earlier with Jack, I guess he'll be Jack 8. He walks in with the fucking cannon, and you see some moves where the cannon like flies down and hits them like midstring.
And then,
how do you feel about that kind of stuff?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't mind it. That's something that I'll have to I guess I'll have to play before I can really make a judgment on it. Just because from what it looks like and to how it translates into gameplay is always going to be, super different. I might play it and then it feels just off, and I'm like, yeah. Like how Rage Arts felt for me at first. It felt like it was just, a way to cheat in the game, until I realized, oh, a lot of these you can block, you can avoid, you can get out the way. You know what I mean? So then I started to be like, okay, well, it happens as a last resort. It can be a combo ender. I mean, you can do it if the person is bad, You know, I use it kind of like a cheat when you're about to die and they go and hit you and you just activate it. But a lot of times, like especially when you're playing someone good or if you've gotten good, they can't do that to you and you can't do that to them. So it's gonna be like that. I feel like when I actually play the game, it'll either sour me at first and then I'll grow into it, or it'll just take me out of it. And if it takes me out of it, I'm gonna be upset. But like I said, I'm never gonna be disappointed with the art direction, with the way the characters look. I'm waiting to see Brian Fury for real. When I see that, when I see my homie, I might just be playing just because it's Brian Fury.
Just because it's Brian Fury. And the good thing about Brian is that he's like guaranteed, right? Like there's no way he's not coming. So you just gotta wait for him to show him off.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, would you want Brian to be more exaggerated as well, or would you prefer him to stay like as grounded with his fighting style as he is?
I mean, I'm a kickboxer. He's a kickboxer, so that's exactly why I use him. But I'm always one for, you know what I mean, if they want to add something, if they want to put some new stuff in there, I'm not gonna be mad. You know what I mean? Because honestly, what they did with him from 6 to 7, I was only like happy about. They added moves that like sort of fill in some of his gaps. They gave him some stuff that made it not impossible. You know what I mean? I feel like Tekken 6 Brian was a different was a more limited character than Tekken 7 Brian. So if they do the same and they want to add some stuff or give him some newer features in 8, I'm not going to be upset.
Awesome. I'm glad you have like your mind open for that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Because, you know, when I see the moves coming off of Jin and Kazuya, where, you know, their wings are spreading, all this devil energy and stuff, and they're flying and shit now, and it makes me wonder, like, some of these characters that have, like, enhancements, like Brian, like Yoshimitsu, and, you know, we see what they did with Jack 8. Like, will they add a little bit more extravagance to their thing? Will Brian be like more like vicious and stuff? Will we have like a move where he like just like he does like one of his Tekken 8 enders, you know, where he's just beating the shit out of you, but it's like a regular move now?
Oh, that would be the shit. That's my favorite ender too.
Because in not Tekken, next Street Fighter X Tekken, he was more raw. It was hard to tell he was a kickboxer in Street Fighter X Tekken because he was just like brutal, and I wonder maybe if they'll bring some of this like the raw brutality of him, that he actually, because he's more pointed, right? He's like just pointed and pretty disciplined in the way he fights compared to his personality.
Wild. Yeah, he gets wild when it's like when he feels it. And I feel like that too, honestly. A lot of his moves don't look like something a kickboxer would do, but it plays into his character well. So where he's poignant, like you said, and you get like his 1-2-4 combo, his 1-2 which call it? His which call it? What is it called? His quarter circle forward dash, going into uppercuts, going into leg kicks, his double what is it? Double forward 4, I think it is, when he does the big kick and his switch kick and all that. Those moves, absolutely, that's like bread and butter. It translates from my thoughts into the controller well. But then you got moves like what is it? His quarter circle 1-2, where he does the elbow, or he does the fucking that weird, I can't even remember how to do it right now, but he does the like his hands go up and then he does the hatchet kick after. I don't know how to describe it exactly. Like those moves don't look like a kickboxer at all, but it plays so well into the character. It just looks brutal and he's just like plowing through guys. So I feel like they did a really good job in balancing him as a character for like, nah, he's a fighter, bro. He's been doing this. He's trained. But there's times where it don't look like he's trained and he's just gonna run through you. And that's my man.
That's an awesome balance. That's such a badass balance for a character.
Dude, it's
to have. I really don't see them fumbling with Brian, because I feel like they got a soft spot for Brian. I think they like Brian a lot.
Yeah.
Which is good, you know. They should like Brian a lot because he's an OG character, you know. I feel like if you debuted in Tekken 3, like you got a lot of goodwill on your back.
Exactly. I hope honestly that they come with some of the DLC characters that came out in 7 too, because like Falcon was really cool. Fucking what you call it? Although she gets on my nerves. Lucky Chloe was a pretty cool addition, where it's not like someone who takes fighting as seriously. Because even the like Tekken's known for some pretty goofy characters. You got Kuma and Panda and what is that? The tree. I don't remember his name right now, but
Mokujin.
Mokujin, yeah. So like there have been like or even which I felt like I saw a thing where he was coming back. The dinosaur Rex, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Alex. Yeah, yeah. There was like a
Alex,
behind the scenes things. I was an Alex player.
Word. So like I hope that they keep bringing some of those characters back. I need that.
That's what I feel like Tekken 7 was missing a little bit. We had the bears, but that was about it. You know,
Yeah.
we needed characters like Mokujin and yeah, Roger and Alex and fuck it. Jamaican Shake once gone to come back so bad.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. They need characters like that. It's always because it just makes the game fun, where you take it seriously and you know what I mean. You pick your character that looks cool and badass. Eventually, you're just like, I just want to be goofy for a little bit. It's hard to be goofy when you're fucking Kazuya. You know what I mean?
I know there's nothing goofy about Kazuya.
Exactly. Until you get the Tekken tag and him and Heihachi are getting launched out of a rocket by Jin or something.
Tekken Tag's a silly ass game.
Word.
So would you say when you were watching the trailer, you were liking everything you saw, or were there things that had you a bit concerned?
I mean, I don't know. It depends on which trailer, because the announcement trailer was just like, it was, you know, those are always just flashy. It did look really cool. It looked really cinematic, and I love that. But as they got into the gameplay trailer, the only thing I could really say is the characters look a little more bulky. Like even with the clothing designs, like Lars, it was hard to tell where his arms and legs were a lot of the time. Just because like one, his stance is pretty closed off, but two, just the stuff that he had on, it's like his clothes were so busy you couldn't really see his moves, and that gets on my nerves only because when I play the game, then it's hard to see moves coming, it's hard to read, you know what I mean? But other than that, I mean, not really. I mean, we talked about like the crazy powers and stuff that they're given, but like I said, that's just something that I gotta experience to really get a good opinion on.
I feel that. What am I trying to ask? When it comes to things like the crazy powers and stuff, are there any concerns that like projectiles will come back as heavy as they were in Tekken 7?
Jesus Christ, I hope not, because getting a fucking Hadouken that shaves your fucking health, ridiculous. The fucking Rampukin, can't stand it. What's her name? The vampire chick, whatever she does, don't like it. And then they added Noctis.
Yeah.
Why did they add Noctis in that game? It's
No
so
more
dumb.
Noctis, bro. No more
Oh my
Noctis.
goodness. Ban Noctis forever, please.
Ban
Jesus
Noctis
Christ.
forever. I'm with it. So I want to talk to you now about quickly, because we haven't had like a full breakdown on it. So I just want to just kind of like talk about it, get your feelings on it. They introduced a new mechanic to the game. It looks like it's called like the heat system or something of that nature. It looks like it's kind of like you do an attack, you activate like the heat feature or whatever, and you do like dash forward to continue the combo. Something to that degree. I'm not sure if they fleshed it out entirely to us, but you know, you'll see if a couple of the videos, they'll have like smoke and shit coming off of them, different colors. Everyone seems to have different color smoke, and they'll do a move, and then like they'll activate their heat thing or whatever, and then they'll rush forward, and they can continue like the combo like as if it wasn't completed yet. Have you seen any footage of that yet?
No, I haven't actually.
No. Oh, okay. Well, it looks like a pretty interesting feature. But my my wondering of it is if that's something you'll always be able to do, or will they introduce some type of like meter to Tekken finally? like a universal meter, not like Akuma and Geese and Eliza that have their own meter, but like a universal like meter system where you could burn heat to do these things. How would you feel about Tekken introducing like new meta games like that, like meters and shit like that?
That that would pain me only because that's a part of the reason I liked Tekken so much is because they didn't have that. The rage system was kind of cool just because it gives you a little bit of an extra boost. Rage arts, I was back and forth on. Like I said before, it was a thing that really grew on me because it felt like, especially when you use Akuma and do the Raging Demon, it felt like there was no way to avoid it until I realized, oh, it's a grab. I can just jump, and I jumped and avoided it every single time after that. But if there is that's crazy. If there is a meter burn system like that universally, I mean, it's just a new mechanic to get used to. If it's still Tekken, then I feel like they'll be able to translate it well. And if it ends up being something more akin to like, I guess something like Mortal Kombat where the dashes or you can break combos and stuff like that, it would help because there are times when you'll get, caught in somebody's fucking like 20 hit juggle combo, and it'd be nice to have something where you could just break, get back to it and fight again. Or if you're trying to continue a combo, you can dash into it, you know what I mean? Because there's a lot of times, especially when you scale up damage, that they get further away, so being able to dash and then continue would be a pretty welcome change. Yeah, I don't know, I have to look at, now that you mentioned that, I gotta look it up. That sounds crazy.
Yeah, there's not like a ton of like footage or examples, so I'm imagining they'll have like a full breakdown once more characters get shown off.
Got you.
But yeah, that was something I was thinking about because Tekken's always been like just like that grounded game. You have your health bar and that was it. Most of the time you health bar and that was it. You better manage your health good or you will die.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they introduced a rage mechanic, like you said, and that's not necessarily a bar per se, but it is like another universal addition to the game that's not just like a new way to do combos.
Exactly. And I don't know. Like, if it's a thing, I don't know. Yeah, it just, I mean, because even with those characters that used it before, like Eliza, like Geese, it was just a bit of a boost, and it never really. It's not like it would change the game drastically. More so, I feel like their projectiles did more for me to have to combat around than them just getting a little bit of extra damage into a combo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. I just hope it's distributed evenly amongst the cast, because sometimes games they'll have a universal mechanic, but it won't be like every character can't utilize it to its full potential. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, that becomes a balance thing, honestly, because it felt like that with just rage arts in general. Because I didn't. Everybody's got a different one that hits, and it felt like, especially if you weren't the most skilled player, using someone like Steve Fox, you know what I mean, where you could do his rage art, and you could do the way where you take a hit, but when you use it, it's like. It's one of the most easily avoidable rage arts in the game. It's just a high cross, and you can just duck it every time.
Yeah, okay. And yeah, that's a really good point. So when you talk about rage arts, because there's only really so much we could talk about the heat system right now without, having all the so much knowledge. We don't know if you can use the heat system for defense as well. Maybe there is a get out of there. Maybe someone's pressuring you, you can burn the heat to just evade like crazy, make a bunch of space, or fucking what's the word, push block or some shit.
Yeah.
But going back to the rage art for a second, you said at higher levels it's hard to utilize rage arts in a way that you'll see in the lower levels. Lower levels, they'll just throw it out there and win the fight.
Yeah, exactly.
Because everyone's just kind of swinging and flailing their limbs around. But still, with that being said, would you want any adjustments to the rage art system since it does seem like it's coming back?
I mean, not really. I think they did a good job with it, except like I said for, but yeah, I don't think that's really an adjustment. Everybody's, because if everybody's is the same, if everybody's is a, you know what I mean, like mid kick or something like that, I feel like that would just be boring to start out. And you know, using every character is different, so having to adjust and use your character the way they should be used, is never bad, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, yeah. So if I don't feel like there's much you could really do to it to make it better, except maybe. Nah, not even. I was gonna say make it so that they all kind of do a similar amount of damage, rather than like, because you have some people like Eddie Gordo's John will just disintegrate your health, where you have someone like Lee who like it does damage, but I've never seen anyone like lose like more than a third of their health through his. You know what I mean? Like it didn't feel like it did much, even though it was all fancy with the rose. It didn't do the kind of damage that someone like one of the Mishimas did.
I see what you mean. I see what you're talking about. You wouldn't want them to say like remove like the frame 1 armor on it or anything like that?
Because I feel like that's just part of it. You know what I mean? Like I said, when you're bad at the game, when you're not good and you're just flailing and you know what I mean? There's no, you don't know how to draw out somebody's rage art or anything like that, then you're gonna get caught with it. But that just becomes a skill issue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now you got to be aware of that and go, okay, I know if I just rush in, he can do his rage art. How do I draw this out? Do I run in and then stop immediately so he thinks I'm trying to finish him real quick? Do I do the beginning of a combo and then backdash so you know what I mean? Anything like that, it just becomes a skill thing, whether they're good at using it or you're good at drawing it out.
Okay, so you enjoy like the mind game it presents when it's on the table?
Yeah. Well, I started to after.
Right, after once you got a little bit better at the game, for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely a scrub buster type of mechanic for sure.
Right, it's a big adjustment to go through.
Yeah. Yeah, you either adapt to it or you die, or you just you drown in pools.
Exactly.
But what about the rage drive system? The you know, the blue spark, the Panda's her thing was she hits you really high in the fucking air. Same with King. You know the moves, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't seen anything on those yet.
I never really started to use them. I think I kind of other games came out and I started to change up back before I really like learned how to put them into combos or use them effectively. However, when watching games, when watching Evo tournaments and whatnot, I always thought they weren't super OP because it's like having a rage art, but there's no armor, so you can literally just hit someone out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then make your own combo.
Exactly.
With it. Yeah, I've definitely poked many people out of like their rage drive. I mean,
Word.
you see the flash and then it just poke and then they're going and all the
Word.
rage is going. And then,
You just do like a down jab and they're like, "Rah!" And they just stop in place.
yeah, and you just crush their whole spirits. But I've gone on record as saying that I loved the rage drive system. I think the rage drive system was pretty cool. I liked how everyone's rage drives function differently.
Yeah.
Everyone's like had something different. Not everyone's launched them 1,000 feet in the air. Some people's like crushed them on the ground. Some were just like power hits, like Paul's. It's just like a power hit, big damage.
Big damage, dude. I hated getting hit by that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I couldn't agree more with that. It was a thing that another adjustment, of course, because you could just run into it for real. But it was a real game changer. Like it didn't seem unfair like the rage drive or the rage art because you didn't have the armor, you didn't have the guaranteed like quarter to third of your health. It was just it's not even a guaranteed hit. Like you can go for it, but like we said before, you could just poke somebody out of that. So it never really seemed like something that was unfair in the game. It just seemed that one. I feel like if they just brought rage arts back, I would be much more comfortable or accepting of it rather than them doing the rage art where you could just, like I said, eviscerate somebody's health.
I agree. I think I'm on the same wagon as you in that regard, for sure. Because I just liked it. It just felt good. It just felt like the next logical step, like rage, and then you got here's your rage drive, and then like the rage art was, it's the rage art. It's the big. Everyone was doing big cinematics at the time.
Honestly, that was a big part of a couple games for real.
Like Soul Calibur as well. I get they're like pretty much the same company, but they both had like the quote unquote rage art type of system, blow your meter to do your big move.
That fucking Tekken had it. I mean, Street Fighter's always kind of had it, but they like started. I feel like, well, at least in America anyway, they kind of started the trend. But then with the X-rays, and then it turned into the what did they call them in the second one?
Oh,
What,
Mortal Kombat X?
Yeah, no, not in X, in 11.
Oh, 11, it was the Fatal Blows.
Yeah, the Fatal Blows. So they like every game started to have something like that.
I guess that's just where we're at right now.
Yeah, for real.
I guess we just like that kind of stuff, which I guess is cool. As long as it's not too long. That's my problem with the Fatal Blows in Mortal Kombat. They're just like really, really long.
Yeah, they did take a while.
So I like big cinematics, but they're like more brief than that.
Yeah, that's fair. I was about to say it's not as bad as like some of the Injustice Johns.
Oh, you're right. Those shits are long, bro.
Seriously, you get Batman's John. I hated going through that, man. Getting fucking lifted up in the air, then you shot by and then a rocket, and then you come back. Why? Why did you need all that? You're Batman, dude. Just fucking beat him up a little.
Right, just beat me up, break my limbs, please. Don't shoot me. Don't shoot me. But now I want to ask you something that's a little bit more on the like subtle side of Tekken mechanics, but it's gotten brought up on the podcast by Pecan Swirl quite often. I wish I was able to get him on the podcast more often these days, but life happens.
Word.
So I want to ask your opinion on this. Tekken 7 noticeably made breaking out of grabs easier.
The first one that I got good at breaking out of grabs too, so
yeah. And I remember when we first started playing, that was like a big like hurdle for you, was learning how to break grabs.
Yep.
And breaking Tekken grabs is so hard. It's always been so hard because you have two different grabs, and you just have to read which arm your opponent reaches out with, and then match that with your button. Yeah. All in an instant. Like in an instant. It can't be reactable. Like it's got to be like a prediction.
Seriously, it's so I hated it so much. And honestly, I did start to kind of make it a reaction just when I saw the purple, you know what I mean? The purple little flash thing of the grab. What I started to predict was ducking the grabs, especially when you play someone like Squirt who uses King all the time. I had to start being able to do that, because if not, I wasn't beating him. He was just going to grab me 10,000 times.
Right, get you to the fucking death cradle and just kill you for 80%. Seriously. No, I agree. Because I see where the contention comes from, where you kind of, like, you want to keep that skill ceiling. Like, you want to keep that shit high.
Yeah.
You want people that put in the time to have it rewarded by having things that only they can do because they put in the time.
Word, I agree.
However, when you look at the mechanics of a grab, just as a whole, an unblockable move, and when you have characters like King, who can chain them together and do mad damage, personally, I kind of feel like having it be a little bit more lenient was a good step. You know what I mean?
I agree, yeah. Like you said, you want to keep the skill ceiling high, but I feel like if it's too high, then it starts to be a detriment on the enjoyability, or even like the sustainability of replayability. There we go, of the game. Where especially if new people are coming in, if you make it too difficult, they're not gonna wanna stick around. And honestly, that's what happened with what is that game that just came out? Multiverses. How like the hitboxes were so stupid on some characters. It was like, why the fuck I want to play this game, dude? Like everyone in everyone in this, if you use a specific character, you felt like you were just gonna die. You know what I mean?
I totally agree with you. Multiverses and their shitty hitboxes.
Word.
It's like, bro, just put the hitboxes with the character's move. What are y'all doing? Why is it so hard for you guys?
Seriously.
Just put it with the move. Why is people getting hit in these directions? But yeah, because Tekken's a hard game. Like all in all, just this point blank. Tekken's a really, really hard game, and it's really hard to get good at.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And when
really put your fucking time in if you're gonna be good at that.
For real. And I actually watch. He's a Tekken player. He does mostly like content creation. He's not so much a tournament player. But he said it was interesting. He said he wouldn't call himself a video game player. He calls himself a Tekken player.
Huh.
He said he doesn't play video games. He plays Tekken.
All
like
right.
It's a sport. Like he's not like, he doesn't care about video games. He just cares about Tekken. And so he's like really good. But it goes to show that if you want to get to that level, it's different than getting good at Street Fighter or getting good at Mortal Kombat. Like Tekken is like relies very heavily on legacy skill, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, honestly, because I felt like when I first picked it back up, because like I said, I didn't have 5. So there was just a big gap of time where mostly all I was playing was FPSs. And then I met back up with you guys, started getting back into it, and going through it again. Like, if I hadn't been playing Brian already, I would have gotten crushed immediately all the time, which I kind of did. But then because of that, going from Tekken Tag, just practicing all the time. When 7 came out, I felt like, all right, cool. I have a really, really good foundation already. So when I got into it, it just was some small adjustments, and I was able to actually, compete online, get pretty close to winning a couple of the online tournaments that they had. Except every time I got close to second place, they would fucking crash. But or someone would quit the server because they got mad.
It's always it was always the host that quit when they lost. As soon as they lost, they just quit.
Seriously, oh my goodness, freaking just bitches. But what you call it? No, I agree. It relies a lot on, you have to have some feel for the game already in order to really grasp the next one. If you come into it new, it's just like you're like a fish out of water, dude. Especially since it's it's not a 2D fighter, you know what I mean? You have the extra dimensions of sidestepping, jumping over them, avoiding things, breaking the grabs, things coming around. So if you do sidestep, you're still gonna get hit. You know what I mean?
Look, I totally see where you're coming from, because I was just thinking, because I've been testing out playing a lot of new fighting games from like the past recently, like Blaze Blue and like old Guilty Gears and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking that I understood like going into like a new series like Raw, not knowing anything. But then you just made an amazing point where this is a 3D fighter, and even jumping into 2D fighters I've never played before, I still have a foundation for 2D fighters that I can lean on. When it comes to like jumping into just Tekken like for the first time, that's like, where do you even start?
Yeah, honestly. And it was crazy seeing like high caliber Street Fighter players. As soon as Akuma got put in the game, they go in and play against Tekken players, like, again, really experienced Tekken players. And it seemed kind of even at first until that motherfucker started sidestepping. And then it just became a whole completely new game. Like, oh yeah, you can't just jump. You can't just move forward and back. That's not going to work every time.
It's a whole new, it's like you said, a whole new dimension, man.
Yeah, man, that third dimension opens shit up.
It does, and that's why I understand exactly why like you have such strong feelings towards Tekken, as opposed to just 2D fighters, because that element just adds like so much depth
Yeah.
to it, depth of movement.
Word. And honestly, I think and not to brag or anything, but I feel like it comes from my background of being a fighter IRL because, you know, I'm not on a 2D plane. I'm not fighting on a bridge that's just, you know, shoulder width that I can only go forward and back. You're in a ring, you can move around. If someone throws a punch, I can sidestep. If someone throws a front kick, I can, you know, push it to the side. I'm not just stuck in a linear path. So when I play a video game like that, where I'm only stuck in a 2D plane, I'm like, wow, that move's kind of crazy. It'd be crazy if I could move to the side, but I can't. So playing Tekken, playing Soul Calibur, I felt like it just made me able to register, okay, this is what I can do. When they do this attack, I know how I can avoid it because I think about how I would avoid it, you know, in real life.
Real life, I feel that. I feel that, and I do like believe that no matter how crazy like Tekken gets, like say Kazuya's like a big part of his plan is like shooting lasers or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like even with that, you can still wrap your mind around how you would have to fight somebody like that in real life, because you have all these different movement options available to you. Like if you were facing down someone that was shooting lasers, I'm sure you could figure out what you would have to do movement wise to close the distance and fight that person.
Word, I was literally about to say, like, yeah, man, it sucks when you get in the ring and they sprout devil wings and start shooting lasers out of their forehead, dude. It's the worst, but
UFC sure has changed.
Word, honestly, stuff like that does throw me off. Like I said, I don't like projectiles or anything, but it's as close to like raw fighting as you can get while still having that, you know, that cool martial arts anime aesthetic, which I really, really love about it. When it comes to those projectiles, though, it threw me off so much at first until I started to realize, oh, it's like a punch that, you know, that extends out. It's on a, you know, when he does the one, when he's in the air, it goes in a straight path from down straight out. So I'm like, okay, cool. That's just the same as somebody running straight forward. I got a sidestep. When Jin does the one that goes forward and then goes up, you know what I mean? I thought I could jump over it before, but I can't. It goes up. All right, cool. So I either sidestep or I duck. You know what I mean? Like those became kind of easy to see. Oh my god! But then when they started adding everyone else with a projectile, then it was like, all right, now I got to learn all these guys' projectiles, how they work. Can I jump over it? Can I stand there? I can't block a Hadouken. I'm gonna get shaved health. So let me see if I can sidestep it. Okay, I can. Geese Howard. Let me see if I can jump over it. Okay, I can. So I don't know. It added something a little extra that, like I said, that doesn't translate in real life. No one's like jumping up, sprouting wings, and shooting lasers. However, yeah, right. But it does. It did give me the same feel after a while of thinking about it and not just being mad that they can do it. Just a feel of like, okay, so what if this was happening? What if, you know, in a, not even in a different world, but like, what's the closest thing I can think about to it? And it's like, we have a drill in boxing where your coach throws tennis balls at you. And as they throw those tennis balls, you just treat it like a punch. You know what I mean? It comes at you, you either catch it and drop it. You know, move your head to get out of the way. You sidestep so it can go past you. If it goes towards your body, use your elbows to block. You move, you can, you know, switch stances, let it fly past you, all that stuff. So again, it's just another thing that I had to find a way to equate it to real life, so I could really, so I could perform it in game.
See, I didn't know those drills existed. That's a really cool exercise.
Yeah, man, it's fun too.
Yeah, it sounds fun. It actually does sound fun. You're talking, I was like, damn, that sounds like something that'd be cool to do.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing.
But I want to move on to something I actually almost forgot about that I wanted to talk about. And I was actually very excited to see this because how familiar are you with Tekken 4? Not everyone played Tekken 4.
Oh, I played the hell out of Tekken 4.
Okay, you played the hell out of Tekken 4. Awesome. I actually really, really like as it came out when I was a kid. You
Yeah.
have to keep that as a frame of reference. I was not a competitor.
Yeah.
I was like I played mostly fighting games, but I didn't play like fighting games seriously. It just happened to be the games I like to play.
Got you.
So playing Tekken 4, one, I thought it looked awesome. I thought
Yeah.
the music was pretty cool.
Mhm.
But my favorite thing were the stages in these levels.
Oh yeah, I gotta agree with that.
I thought the stages were cool. There's stairs, and you could break through glass, and there were pillars you can like maneuver and shit around. And I really, really like that. And I like it to this day. I think a big shame really was that it wasn't well received at first, and so
Yeah.
they went back to just fighting in like rings and stuff.
Mhm.
There were like levels, they're like stages, but they were fashioned to be just like square or circle rings to fight
Yeah,
inside of. But in Tekken 8 now they have introduced like stage hazards.
Mm.
They've shown one where you knock someone into like I don't quite remember if it was like barrels or something, and they exploded and launched the person that got knocked into it to continue the combo.
Got you.
Now, how do you feel about stuff like that? Stuff if they start adding stages that are dynamic again?
I honestly love that. I like a big part of no one played this game, but like Def Jam Icon, they had the stage hazards and whatnot. But even in the old Def Jam games, they had it, and like we knock someone into a wall, they get slammed up into it, and you had a grab or a combo that you could do off of there. You had like what was that one game on the Dreamcast? It was kind of like a arena fighter.
Power Stone?
Yeah, Power Stone. So they like having a stage that's multi-level like that. I don't think it would really work too much in Tekken because of how we mentioned how it's you never really called Tekken stiff, but compared to a game like that, it is, but not in a bad way. I'll say that. Where I don't think they'll be able to like have a raised platform that you can jump onto before you fight the guy that you're fighting, but having something like, yeah, right. But having something like a car in there that you could hit them against, and they, hit the car, stay there. You can get like a small, like 2 or 3 move combo off, or like the barrels you said. That you knock them into them, they explode, they come back. Now you got a couple extra hits you can get to finish your combo string. Like stuff like that is pretty cool. I have always enjoyed that in games. And while knocking someone into barrels and them exploding isn't really realistic, in fights, if if it's truly like a meet anywhere in the world and we're gonna throw hands kind of thing, there's gonna be stuff there. You're not gonna like, it's not like Kazuya and Jin took the first 10 minutes that they met up and cleared the space and swept all the rocks out, you know what I mean,
And then started fighting.
Exactly. So I 100% love that. I think it's a pretty cool addition.
Awesome. I'm glad you're enthusiastic about it, because I am as well. I love when stages feel lived in, I guess.
Mhm.
I like when stages like
It feels natural.
Yeah, when it feels natural. Yeah. And I didn't even realize I had this problem with Tekken until I saw the stage hazard in Tekken 8. And then I look back, I'm like, it is kind of lame that every stage is just a circle or a square clear of debris.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like the thought, because when I look at like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or even DOA I think is great at this.
Yeah.
They have a ton of not stage hazards, but a lot of stage accessories that goes on. Like DOA shit just explodes and knocks you around and shit. Like there's just like explosions happening.
Word. Honestly, that was if I'm not mistaken, that was one of the first games I remember there being like stage transitions back in like I don't know which one it was. It was on the PS2, but not only did they have ring outs, but you could like, that was one of the, not even on the PS2, on the PlayStation, one of the originals. But yeah, like you could knock someone down a waterfall, you'd see him fall, slam against the ground, and then you'd land on top of him or something like that. Like those are pretty cool. And then that was like the very beginning of it. You could also ring out opponents and whatnot. But then as they started to build on it, dude, it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it a lot.
I like that. I like when the stage also has a personality, I think is where I'm getting at.
Yeah, every stage feels different. You know what I mean? If you fight in the street and you knock somebody into a car, it's different than like you're fighting in a forest and you slam somebody through a tree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's just fucking cool, and that's what I like about Mortal Kombat now as well. They got stage hazards, you can use the shit,
Yeah, you
swing
can
with it, knock people into shit,
grab the old lady and throw her.
and throw her and have her beat the shit out of you, or
Yeah,
have you
right.
both just explode for some reason. Because I'm a big fan. Like you said, you're big on art direction in games. I also like art direction, but I'm a bigger fan of storytelling in games. And I like when the stage can set the scene in a fight.
Yeah.
The stage and the music can set the scene and the mood of the fight. And I feel like Tekken doesn't have much of that, probably because it barely has a story.
Yeah, fair. Tekken 7 didn't have much of one at all. I
Not
mean,
really.
yeah, I feel like they need to go back to like. Honestly, I wish they would have kept doing. I think everyone else kind of hated it, but was it in 6 or in Tekken Tag that they had the like the story mode? You could pick a character and you had like literal stages that you had to run through and fight dudes.
Oh yeah, that was Tekken 6, the scenario
Okay.
campaign.
Yeah. See, especially for fighting games, I love those where it feels like you have a mode that feels like a beat 'em up, and then you get into the base game where you're actually, you know what I mean, fighting 1v1. I think that's cool as hell. I don't know why they stopped doing that. Maybe it was a time thing. Maybe people didn't like it. I don't know, but I loved it.
I agree. I thought the scenario campaign was cool. I thought it was lame at first because I didn't like Lars or Alyssa. In fact, Alyssa is one of my least favorite Tekken characters.
I'd have to agree with that.
But when you were able to, they let you change your characters, I'm like, oh, this is tight. I like this a lot.
Exactly. Then when I got to play through that as Brian Fury, man, that was it.
And it didn't just go as far as choosing your characters. In game, like with like text cutscenes, not like the actual CGI cutscenes, because that was always like Lars Alyssa in them.
Yeah.
With like text cutscenes, your character spoke.
Yeah.
Your character that you chose spoke to the characters and responded in kind.
Word.
I thought that was cool.
And it sounded like when you it sounded like them. It wasn't like everyone had the same dialogue.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you learn a lot because Tekken is really bad at personifying their characters.
Yeah, they're bad at kind of. I mean, they do have the when you play through the whatever arcade mode and you have them like how Mortal Kombat does. You have the slides and it goes through that, and you have the one cinematic cutscene. I think even those are pretty fun, but they never really flesh out the lore of the character. Not everyone is winning the King of Iron Fist. I don't know why every character won, but you do see okay, they did win. How did they win? One thing I always hated about Brian Fury, or what did they do after they win more so? One thing I always hated about Brian Fury is in his cutscenes, it was always just him slaughtering people. I'm like, okay, does he like? What happened to when he was waking up in Boskanovich's lab? You know what I mean? Like, and he was telling him, "Oh man, you would have died if it wasn't for your parts. Oh, good thing I blah blah blah." Let me get some of that. Let me get some fleshed out characters, man, please.
And Brian is an interesting case now you bring it up, because I think out of all the characters, he has the like least amount of like story. I don't want to say story relevance, because he did deal with Boskanovich and Yoshimitsu and them like that. But because of his nature of him being pretty crazy, but he also was a police officer,
Yeah,
who was corrupt and was killed. Like, we didn't explore any of that. Why is he so fucking crazy? I want to know why he's so fucking crazy.
literally. Let me let me just flesh out the characters, please.
Yeah.
I miss honestly in like Tekken, what was it? Even in Tekken 4, they did more like explaining a little bit, not even explaining, but just setting up the rivalry between like Jin and Horang, fucking seeing what how how goofy martial law, or was it Forest Law that was in that game?
One.
In 4?
It was martial law.
Okay, but yeah, just seeing like that, learning that, oh, he just wanted to open up. Not only did he want to open up a school, but he wanted to open up a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that is cool. I want to know that about the characters. I've been growing up with these characters since I was literally since Tekken 3. So let me see. Let me see what they got. I'm 27 now. It's been 25 years that I've been playing this game. Please.
It just feels good to know why characters are fighting. I think.
I agree. Yeah.
I think we're past the point of just like us looking at them as dolls. Just
Yeah.
we're not just like crashing toys together anymore. These are like living, breathing characters to a lot of us.
Yeah. Exactly.
I want to know more.
Word.
Honestly, I don't really. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say even games like Smash do more to set up lore. I feel like.
I agree. They at least have a whole story mode.
Word.
And they have like a cutscene in the beginning. They used to, at least. Where was I getting at with that? Now I forget what my point was, because that was like such a good thing. That was like something strong that I want from Tekken now. It's like I want their characters to like feel real now.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that the character, like the graphics are getting this way, because I'm not sure if you noticed or if many people noticed, but something I noticed was the difference between like Tekken Tag 2 and Tekken 7 was in Tekken 7's graphics were much better than Tekken Tag 2's.
Agreed.
Like, of course, without a doubt. However, a lot of the characters in Tekken 7 do kind of just like doll-like characters.
Say again?
A lot of the characters in Tekken 7 look more like dolls. They're very doll-like.
Oh, like dolls. Okay.
Like dolls, yes. And if you go back, if you're ever like curious and you're able to, if you go back and look at Tekken Tag 2, and just look at a lot of the characters, everyone's got like a fucking bathing suit set. Just look at a lot of them, men and women. Just look at all of them, and you'll notice that they're all built different. They're all built differently. They all have different levels of muscle mass depending on their fighting style, which Tekken 7 doesn't have. Like, if you go back and you look at Nina, like Nina is like a very like strong difference compared to Tekken 7. She has the most muscle mass out of all of the characters, female characters in Tekken Tag 2. And then it's all gone in Tekken 7, and she's just like a Barbie doll.
Damn, okay, I see what you mean. All right.
Yeah, so if you ever just like go back, and you're just curious about that, just check it out. Everyone's built different. Everyone has different proportions, body types, just depending on, their character. I don't know why Nina would have like more muscle than say.
I mean, she's an assassin. You know what I mean? She gotta be fit.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's like a female wrestler that, but maybe not. Maybe like Julia should have more, since she's like a hard style type of character.
Yeah,
should have more muscle.
Freaking I was gonna say, I'm kind of seeing what you mean. I feel like, yeah, because if you see someone like Steve Fox, you know what I mean? He's a boxer. He's supposed to be quick, supposed to be fast. Having him be built like fucking Marduk would be crazy. You know what I mean? He would not need to be that big, and that's one thing I have enjoyed about it. Seeing him as a boxer, then you see like what you call it, Kazuya and Jin, who are just beefed the fuck up. Why is his chest so big? What do you do, bro? How much are you benching?
Bro, like, he's got to have so much weight pressing down on his lungs right now.
Seriously,
all that muscle.
But nah, I'd have to agree. And it's like that in actual martial arts too. You see a bunch of different body compositions, even if it's just in a sport like MMA. You know what I mean? You got one of the former champion Kamaru Usman. He just got beat by Leon Edwards. They look like they're very much like two different people. You know what I mean? But not only in, of course, the face, because they are two different people, but even just how their bodies are shaped. You don't see someone, not everyone looks like Brock Lesnar just because they're a fighter. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because everyone fights different.
Exactly. Everyone fights different. They train different. Some people use weights in their training. Some people don't. Some people just do body weight exercises, and their bodies are going to reflect that.
And so as far as we've seen, we have the usual suspects revealed right now. Paul, Law, Kazuya,
Yeah.
Jin, Jack. We have other usual suspects that are definitely coming. We just haven't been shown yet. But there is a odd one out, as Jun Kazama is returning.
Oh yeah,
No.
yeah, I did see that. Yep.
No, you're not the one that gets hyped about Jun. That's like that's like Banzai's waifu.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But how do you feel about characters that we haven't seen in a long ass time coming back, like Jun and aforementioned Alex the dinosaur coming back? Do you want more characters that we haven't seen in a long time?
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind. I don't know why they made legacy characters DLC in the last one. It didn't make any sense. It's not like it's different when it was Fakrum, when it was Eliza or Geese. You know what I mean? They're from different games or just brand new. But having paying for what's his name? I can't remember his name right now. Fucking the guy who's based from Jackie Chan.
Oh, Lei.
Lei, yes. I was confusing his name. But yeah, like Lei, Ganryu, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Why would they
Armor
make
King, shit like that?
Yeah, Armor King, freaking not Nina, but the other one.
Anna, Julia.
Word. Even what's her name? That was in Tekken 6, with the she's all snaky or whatever.
Oh, Zafina, yeah.
Zafina,
that's
yeah.
right.
It
That's
makes
weird.
no sense that they were DLC characters. Just give us the legacy characters, put them in the game, and then do DLC packs just fine, but for new characters. Y'all brought Negan in there, bro. Give us more of that. Give us
Sword
more of
crazy
that.
shit. But less
Seriously.
Noctis, though. More
Yeah,
Negan, less Noctis.
Exactly. Negan had a bat. Noctis had teleportation powers, bro. Stop
Right.
that.
Throwing swords and shit.
Seriously.
Come on, keep this shit up close.
Literally. Throwing a sword. And full screen at that.
Full
Full
screen.
screen.
And then he
Crazy.
teleported to you whether you blocked it or not.
Seriously.
You brought up DLC just now and earlier, and you brought up Fakuram, bringing back Fakuram and Leroy were the two I feel like the two brand new characters that people really cared about, and then you had Lydia at the end there, which I felt like was less interesting than those two.
I agree. Yeah. But I mean, yeah, to have another I feel like we have 17. Lydia's the karate person, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we have 17 of those already. Why do we need another karate person?
Right, and she's just straight karate.
Exactly.
It's karate.
Literally, just like Shotokan. Bro, please give us something new. A new fighting style, or even just a mixture of fighting styles. It's really nice to see, Jin does karate, Kazuya, Heihachi, but the way that they do it, even though they're all from the Mishima system, they all have different aspects about them. Seeing Lydia gameplay was literally just like watching someone practice karate. You know what I mean? Just do their forms in the air. And which is cool, but at the same time, it's bro, we've seen this already. We got Paul, who also does karate. We got freaking the Mishimas. We got even which I don't think it's stated as such, but Akuma, who also does. You know what I mean? So it's switch it up just a little bit, please.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why. I don't understand Lydia as a character, because like you said, we have plenty of karate practitioners already in Tekken, and her design is dull as fuck. In my opinion, I think she's so dull. She's like a prime minister, but she looks like she's 25.
Yeah.
And I saw her and I was like, I don't understand how y'all came up with this boring ass fucking regular ass white milk character.
Word, man. You could have done so much more. I don't know, man. Just a karate gi and what was it, like an Under Armour? Like that's it.
That was it. Yeah, that was
Where
it.
cool,
And
I
just
guess, but like damn, there was even what you call it? What was her name? She also did Muay Thai. Funnily enough, what was her name?
oh, Josie.
Yeah, even like which is she a returning character or is she new?
No, she was new. She was new.
Okay. Okay. So even like she fought Muay Thai, of course she did. You could see how she blocked kicks, how she threw kicks, and how she threw knees and whatnot. But even with that, her and Fakrum look nothing alike. You know what I mean?
At all.
Her design was representative of her character. It didn't represent her fighting style. She's a person. She's not just, you know what I mean. I don't know what the word for it is. Not Muay is what someone who practices Muay Thai I think is called. But yeah, like it's just give us some, breathe in some life to this character. Don't just be like, oh yeah, very obviously they're just like a national ATA karate person. Like
Yeah, you could tell they just were. She was just like a checkbox character. They just check boxes and then threw her on us.
yeah, nonsense.
But it's great that you brought up Josie because I wanted to ask you. I wanted to ask you this because I have a strong opinion on it. And I want to see what yours is. Base roster Tekken 7 brought in a couple of brand new characters. Let's see. We had the aforementioned Josie, Katarina, Shaheen.
Shaheen, man, there's a perfect character who like he dresses close to obviously just where he's from, and his fighting style. I don't even know what to call it, but it looks cool. You know what I mean? You don't have
very,
to.
very flippy and shit.
Yeah, you don't have to just give him a base fighting style. You can literally just make things up. And even what was his name? The magic guy.
Yeah, Claudio.
Yeah. So like
Claudio, yeah.
word, you had a lot of base characters or like base game characters, I guess, who one looked unique. They didn't look like anybody else really. And two, fought unique. They didn't fight like many others.
But what about Gigas?
I mean, Gigas is cool. I honestly like Gigas a lot. Now, with him, he did see like he's a really boring character to play because his moveset isn't all that, diverse. However, it is very much to his character. You know what I mean? Like he's a fucking experiment. He's not gonna be the most disciplined martial artist out there, but he's gonna, fuck you up.
I agree. I can see the interest in him.
Yeah.
Would you want any one of them to come back?
I mean, I wouldn't mind Shaheen, Claudio. I didn't really like what's her name, the he had the
Kiki girl?
glasses. Yeah, Kiki. Couldn't stand her.
No, I hate her as well. My least favorite, one of my least favorite certain characters by far.
Her literal, like, she had Eddie Gordo property where her normal combo strings did so much damage. I'm like, bro, you hit me 4 times. How is a quarter of my health gone already?
It's just mashing. It's just like mashing buttons.
Seriously. But, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind Josie coming back either. Like they were pretty cool characters and they were fun to not only fight against but also like experimenting with their controls and playing them just in practice because I never really took them online or anything. They were neat.
If they were to come back, because a big issue I do have with those characters is I do find their character to be very like bland and not very fleshed out or interesting.
Now, see,
character wise,
I gotta agree with that because that's like we were talking about before. Like they need to flesh out some lore, bro. Please, we got so many new characters and learned nothing about them.
Not in game, at least. I'm sure if I look on the wiki, we'll get like a full like biography. But you got to present that shit to us.
Exactly.
I want to read that shit. I'm playing the game right now. I'm not looking at Wikipedia right now.
Exactly. Let me play that shit. And at least in other, well, I haven't played a Street Fighter game in a very long time, but in Mortal Kombat, they do that. You know what I mean? They give you those like small moments in game. Like I said, when you do the towers or the arcade mode, and you find out like their motivations for fighting. You find out what they do after they beat whatever the time goddess's name was. I can't remember, but you learn about these characters, and even though it's only a small snippet of like a 1 minute cutscene, you learn about them. You find out their motivations and whatnot. In Tekken, it was like, yeah, like you said, you could look it up on Wiki, but that's the only way you're really gonna learn.
That's it. And if you ever beat the game with them, it's like future stuff. Like you still don't learn about like their characters.
Yeah, you still don't learn about them at all.
I think, and you might disagree with me here because this is an aspect of 2D fighters, but I think as far as fleshing out characters go, I feel like Tekken could use like mid-battle like quips from the characters before it goes to the next round. Like, how when you beat someone in Street Fighter and like Ryu, like after you beat them, Ryu will like tighten his headband and say some shit like, "Oh, that was a good fight," or fucking whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like Tekken could really use something like that because for number one, I want to hear these characters like say like sentences.
Yeah.
Like in game, like actual sentences and shit, so I can get a feel of their actual personalities.
Agreed. I feel like all of their I feel like we've talked about it before. I feel like all of their lines, all their voice lines are just reused literally all the way back from Tekken 3. Like
from Tekken 3, damn.
Yeah,
back in the day.
Seriously, like let me hear some I would love to like you said in you beat around and you just hear him say something. Just hear him just talk.
Yeah, just anything. Talk, anything, just get like, 'cause it gives you like a feel for their personalities. Like say I beat somebody with Yoshimitsu. I beat someone with Yoshimitsu, they go down. And I mean Yoshimitsu, he is one that speaks relatively often.
Mm-hmm.
But he speaks in usually like unsubtitled Japanese for some reason. But it would be cool to hear him like say something and then like fly off like really fast to show like, oh, he's don't got time for this.
Word.
Or just like little quirks like that.
Yeah. That, I mean, I wish more games did it, but the way that like Injustice and Mortal Kombat started doing the back and forth in the beginning, I would love to see that. Because in Tekken, it doesn't matter who's in front of them. I think sometimes they have like, if it's something significant, like if it's Heihachi and Kazuya, they might have something unique. But very often it's just like, all right, here we go. And then the other person's like, And I'm like, all right, well, let's fight, I guess. Like,
right.
Word, like, let me get you know what I mean? You play Lei against Brian, you'd be like, we've been hunting you for years. And Brian's like, well, come on, keep fighting or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that would be so cool.
Seriously, that would be dope, dude.
Oh
Give me some
God.
of that.
That would be hella sick. That would be so sick because like Lei has been looking for Brian and they don't even do this shit anymore, but they used to have like rival fights like back in Tekken 5.
Yeah.
And you got a little bit of that because I think Brian was one of Lei's rivals.
Yeah, well, I mean, in most of the games, or at least in the ones that I've played, a lot of times you just find out that Interpol is looking for him. Well, it's just everybody's looking for him. They're trying to arrest this nigga. He's killing everybody. But word, like that something like that. Something like which card? They had a few of the cutscenes with like Yoshimitsu and Brian, or they had Lee when he takes his revenge and takes control of the Mishima Zaibatsu, you know what I mean? Like, and he casts Jin and Heihachi and Kazuya aside because, like, I may be adopted, but I'm the cooler one or whatever. You know what I mean?
I'm cooler, Kazuya.
Yeah. So stuff like that. It was just that's like small scale stuff that could really do a lot to, like we said before, just build some lore.
Yeah, and I agree. I agree big time. Big time with all of that. It's time. Like it's time. We've been playing this game for a long time. It's time to actually learn about this shit.
Yeah,
let's
for
learn
real.
about the world. Because another issue with Tekken is that they don't have like a strong like through line with adversaries. Like we've had Heihachi and Kazuya, but they're never the final bosses, and that's the issue.
Yeah,
Tekken
exactly.
3
yeah.
was Ogre. Tekken 4 was Heihachi, but Tekken
Mhm.
5 was Jinpachi, and Tekken 6 was Azazel. And
Mhm.
Tekken 7 was Kazumi.
Yeah,
And
so it kind of, I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we've definitely done the uh uh them being the big bad. We know Heihachi can be beat. You know what I mean? We've seen not only Kazuya take his revenge, but also Jin take his revenge on both of them. You know what I mean? It's not like he's. They did a good job with the like the god aura thing that he had when he was fighting in the
Devil,
whatever.
Devil Kazuya.
Yeah, yeah, in the small story mode that they did have. But like that was cool to see, but we've never, like, I don't ever remember seeing that before. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't explain it. He just was like, well, fuck it, he's a devil, so I'm gonna beef up and be a god. Like,
Right.
damn, like, where did that come from, my guy? Like,
I feel like, yeah, you're right. They should have fleshed that out because he has no powers.
yeah, he's
That's
just
the thing. Like, he
a
has no
strong
powers.
old man.
He is just the strong old man of like, I won't say of the series, but he's like the antagonist, a series antagonist, or he should be.
Yeah,
Because when you look at like final bosses of other fighting games, there's something, there's like something there. Street Fighter's been using Bison for like 30 years,
the word.
and they switch like one time to Gil, and then
That's
we're back
what
to Bison.
Yeah,
And then
that's
they're,
what I'm
like,
saying.
sad.
Though, like, Bison, like, having that be the big bad every single time. It's like if they never changed, what was it in the old Mortal Kombat? I think like Shang Tsung was the top guy.
Yeah, from Mortal Kombat 1. Yeah.
Yeah, so like if they never changed that and it was just always Shang Tsung, which it kind of became for a couple games, but like having the newer or like just different kind of scary boss, you know what I mean? Like, that stuff's cool. Fighting Shinnok in X was pretty cool, and then he had like the transformation and shit. Like, that was really, really neat. And then going into like, fighting Shao Kahn and a lot of them, when you're one note on so many, it just seems, I don't know. Like, why play the new game if it's going to be the same guy? You know what I mean?
I understand that. Yeah. I guess what I look for, like, with like final bosses in that respect is, like, how does this affect the broader story of the series? Like, going back to Mortal Kombat, sure, like, Shang Tsung was the boss of Mortal Kombat 1, and then it was Shao Kahn. Well, Shang Tsung worked for Shao Kahn, so this is bigger. And then Mortal Kombat 3 was also Shao Kahn. And then Street Fighter 4 was, like you said, Shinnok. And now you had, like, major
Mortal Kombat?
characters. Yeah, Mortal Kombat, I'm sorry.
You're good.
What was I saying, Street Fighter?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mortal Kombat 4 was Shinnok. Well, a lot of the characters worked under Shinnok that were working for Shao Kahn. They actually secretly worked for Shinnok, so you kept that through line, and it still had a stake within the world.
Word.
But then you have like Tekken 3 with Ogre. Ogre came out of nowhere. He's the god of fighting, so he makes for a cool boss. He makes for a cool fighting game boss for sure. Ogre is so cool. But then with Tekken 5 with Jinpachi is cool too, but his power isn't from the devil gene. His power is just a random demon. So it doesn't connect as strongly as I feel. And then Azazel like came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah. And then Kazumi is a flashback. You don't even fight her in modern times.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, she's a flashback. She's not the final boss of the story at all. She's like, she was way back in the past, and Heihachi had to defeat her when she was dead, which was cool in theory. Like, when you write it down and read it out loud, yeah, that's like cool. But obviously in execution, that story sucked.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it'd be like
it do be like that. Especially with it, like I said, they just, I don't know. I feel like Mortal Kombat definitely does a better job in, definitely a better job with their stories. Just giving you an actual story mode to play through. You know what I mean?
fleshing it out.
Yeah, because there was like playing Mortal Kombat X was kind of crazy, and even in 9 they had like long cutscenes, and like you even going into fights, it wasn't just okay, this is the next stage, this is where you're fighting. It was like you know, the characters get into a tiff and they're like, all right, well, we'll settle this with combat, and then you start fighting. So I feel like that was a really cool, or that's something that Tekken could start to adopt. And like we said, yeah, I got a dog hair in my mouth, excuse me. But like I said, or like we said with the stage hazards and whatnot, it really could set up where like, okay, these dudes just met in the street and started fighting. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a stage. There's stuff all around. People are around, but they just started duking it out, and that's, I don't know, man. That would be much cooler than just a normal like
Like an arena.
yeah, you start here. Okay, we're just going through the stages. This is the next fight. This is the next fight. This is the next fight. But I guess at the same time, that is how the like the reason that they're fighting is the King of Iron Fist tournament, rather than, you know, there's a war going on between superpowered people from hell and the military. You know what I mean?
That's true. I guess the story setup is much different.
Yeah.
Taking that into account, sure. Yeah, I could get behind that.
Word,
Yeah,
but I mean, all that takes is some good writers, bro. That's all it is.
Fighting games are they struggle in that.
Yeah.
They haven't called me back.
They need to, bro. They need that
to call me
genius.
back. I'll get that shit on track. So just to just a final question before we start to wrap this up.
Yep.
If you were to choose one character, Tekken character, not like a guest character,
Gotcha.
one character to not return for Tekken 8, who would it be?
I mean, knock this, but yeah, no.
Like Noctis would be like 75% of people's answers.
I agree. I don't know though. As far as like a new character that's not a guest character, probably. I mean, I gotta go with what's her name, the kicky one,
Katarina?
Katarina. Yeah, fuck her, dog. Oh my god, get her out of here.
We probably have the same answer. I would choose Katarina. Of all the newcomers, Katarina definitely left the most sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah, definitely that.
Yeah, I think I would say Katarina.
I'm trying to think who else really, because I don't really remember too many that I mean, I could live without Gigas. You know what I mean? Like we said, he's a kind of boring character to play. I wanted to pick him up for the longest, but then after like exploring his moveset, I was like, yeah, I don't think this is gonna be for me.
Not very interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, as a character, cool. If they did bring him back, I'd say just flesh him out a little more, give him some more stuff, not just like a 1-2 punch, a knee, and an air grab. Like, give him something else.
I feel like Gigas in this new game, if they really like put their thought into it, could be really fucking cool.
Yeah, I agree. But again, I mean, it depends on if they want a throwaway character or not.
Right, that's on them. That's all on them.
Word. But yeah, Katarina can go kick rocks.
She can go kick rocks with her many kicks.
I know, yeah.
Kick many rocks with them. So all in all, what are your thoughts on what you've seen on Tekken 8, just in conclusion?
I mean, super flashy, super nice, really polished. The only thing I would say that I could complain about was, like I said, the Lars's character design seemed so busy that it was hard to kind of see his arms within the movements. So, I mean, as long as they don't go too overboard, then I don't think there's really anything to worry about.
As of right now, yeah. We don't have much to talk about
Word.
as of right now, which is probably why we bounced around to so many topics.
Yeah.
Today, but I would definitely love to get you on another time when we do inevitably get more information.
Man, I would love that.
Because I do value your opinion on things Tekken related, because I feel like you take Tekken as seriously as like me or Pecan Swirl does.
That's my game, man. That's my game.
So
That's the only like fighting game that I've put time into. Tekken was the only one that I put time into for myself. You know what I mean? Not just to play with the guys, not just to be able to compete with you guys, but like I just really love Tekken. Always have since I was a kid. I think honestly that was probably my first fighting game.
That's fucking awesome, and that's important to just want to be good at it for yourself.
Yeah,
Like it's
honestly,
hard. It's just hard to find games like that in general. Like
seriously.
especially fighting games, because some
Word.
people just play like the most popular fighting game because that's just like what everyone's playing right now.
Word, yeah. That's how I was with like Injustice and stuff. I never really played the Injustices because I mean I like DC and all that, but I never really played them because I had the biggest inkling. It's a 2D fighter, so of course I'm not really all that into it. It was just what was out and all the homies were on it, so I decided to jump on, but it don't matter if the homies are on Tekken or not. I'm gonna give me some Tekken.
Right, and you'll just beat everyone's ass online because you want to. You want to
Exactly.
be one of the best.
Until I get too high in ranking and then everyone's better than me.
That's the hard part. That plateau.
Where
Is hard.
dude, then you start fighting fucking even like the low tier Evo niggas, and I'm just getting crushed. And I'm like, cool. I'll never go to Vegas. That's fine.
I'm sorry. Sorry for stepping on the same floor as you. Oh, but that's awesome. Tekken 8, I feel like is going to be. I don't think we're going to see when we see Tekken 8. I don't think it's going to disappoint, and I don't think we're going to have the feeling of more of the same with Tekken 8.
I don't think so either, man. Just from the little bit that we did see, I feel like it's gonna be maybe not like it's not gonna feel like something brand new, but it's definitely gonna feel like a fresh installment in the game or in the series rather than just another Tekken game.
I totally agree with you, and it's in a different position too, and almost an opposite position, but it's like the same exact story as Street Fighter. Tekken Tag 2 sold very poorly, and that definitely showed with Tekken 7.
Yeah.
And same with Street Fighter. Street Fighter X Tekken sold very, very poorly.
Where that
And
I was so
it showed in
disappointed. I really
Tekken
wanted that to
5.
be better.
I wanted it to be better also, and that showed in Tekken 5. However, by the end of their life, Street Fighter 5 and Tekken 7 sold amazing, incredibly, and it's definitely showing in the new installments coming in the future.
Word. I'm glad that they're kind of. It seems like anyway that they're putting the time in to really, like I said before, just give us something fresh rather than, regurgitating. And I feel like that's what happened with Street Fighter 5. Because like I said, I don't really get into 2D fighters, but when I would watch my homies play or when I saw like the trailers and whatnot, it just seemed like Street Fighter like 4 Omega Alpha, whatever it was called. You know what I mean? It felt like just another one rather than a brand new game.
I totally agree. I 100% agree with you. It was just like more of the same.
Yeah. And no one likes that, man. That's just
nobody.
Word. If you're not gonna improve upon what we paid for already, if you're just gonna give us the same thing, why the fuck am I gonna pay for that shit again, dude?
Right? I just played the old one.
Word. That's all I need to do. And I felt like a lot of the complaints were that the old one was what you call it, better crafted. Like it didn't seem as one note. So it's like it's crazy that you made a brand new game, and not only is it not new, not fresh, not revitalized, but worse than the last one. Bro, y'all gotta do something. And I'm glad in 6 they kind of like they brought it back. They definitely did for the fan base.
Hell yeah. And things are looking so fucking good right now.
Word.
It's looking so good, and I'm so excited. But
I'm happy for y'all, for real.
Do you have any other questions or concerns?
Nah. I mean, I just can't wait to see some more stuff. I can't wait to see the character designs for the rest
I know.
of the roster. Oh, dude, the way you were talking about before, though, I am disappointed in one major thing.
Okay, let's hear it.
Paul's design, he looks different. He looks crazy. I love it. Law's design. Why the fuck is he so huge, bro? Isn't he based off of Bruce Lee? Why is he so big?
Yeah, why he is really jacked right now.
He is a cannon. The amount of veins in his chest, I was like, bro, I don't think that's healthy. Like,
No, and that was never Bruce Lee's like
word.
MO,
Like,
you know?
yeah, like he was ripped, but his whole thing was, I'm ripped, I'm small, but I'm gonna whoop your ass. Law is like, I'm ripped. I'm fucking jacked. I will rip your heart out. Test me. And I'm like, okay, all right then.
I think something got lost in translation there for sure.
Honestly, bro, I miss Old Law. I need him back. Give me my slick kung fu man. That's what I need.
Let's petition for Slick Law to return.
Where
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but yeah, that's a fair point. He is fucking big for his
the body compositions, man, they be getting 'em. That's the one hope that I have, is that not everybody looks like a freaking balloon animal.
a balloon animal.
Pop.
I hope not.
Seriously.
Let's cross our fingers that we have a lot of variety in character designs here.
Where
I'm very curious about Yoshimitsu. He's the one that changes every game, and I hope I don't know what they're gonna do with him.
Oh, and he always has the most unique design out of everyone in the game.
Oh yeah,
I gotta see that.
they went for fucking Octopus in 7. I
That-
want something closer to like Tekken 5.
Tekken 5.
Yeah, he looked like a cyber samurai in Tekken 5.
Got you. I'm thinking of Tekken 4 when he had the like the bug John.
But like that grew on me. I didn't used to like the Bug John, but I ended up kind of liking the Bug.
I liked it from the beginning, dude. Just seeing like the he reminded me of Cell, but with the color palette of the fucking the roaches from Terraformers.
Oh my god, Terraformer roaches.
Weird, but then he had the skull face, dude. Oh, I thought that was so sick.
Oh, it was just whiplash with that because you're coming off of like Tekken 3.
Yeah,
Like,
when he
his
has
Tekken-
like the like his OG design.
Yeah, like the design, like when you think of Yoshimitsu, you think of like the Tekken 3 Yoshimitsu. That's the one they brought back for Street Fighter X Tekken. It was so iconic.
Exactly.
And he had like 4 or 5 other like installments before that, and they still use that design.
Word,
It's just that clean.
word, man.
And I agree, it's a clean ass design.
Yeah, it's iconic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I can't wait to see what they do with him in this game. If it's gonna be like, honestly, I felt like from after seeing Jack, in 7 he looked, as Jack normally does. In this newer one though, in 8 he just looks crazy. So I'm wondering if, if Yoshimitsu is gonna have the like that cyberpunk look that's been kind of getting popular, because that looks like where Jack went, and I wonder if he's gonna be the same.
Good question. It's a really good question. I don't know. It's almost impossible to guess.
Yeah, literally, they could come with like the octopus. Who saw that coming?
No, nobody. And we were all like, "Whoa, what the fuck's going on with him?"
Weird.
But yeah, if you're tapped, I'm also tapped.
Weird.
Nothing more to say right now until we get more footage, and then we'll reconvene on that.
Word. I would love to do that, man. I can't wait till there's more news.
Yeah, me neither. Okay, so if that's that, we can wrap this up. I want to thank you very much for taking the time out to come back on the podcast. I know it's been a minute for you to come back on here, but fighting games have been kind of slow lately because, we're just in the transition period, so not a whole lot of interesting things are happening right now.
Word. Yeah. I was gonna say when the new gen comes out, it always takes a minute for the at least fighting games to kind of adjust to the new everything that comes, the new technology that comes out. And obviously you see part of that in a lot of the trailers for Tekken 8 with how much more they're shoving into the screen. So, you know what I mean? I'm glad they take their time rather than rushing something out, because the first games on new gens are always ass. I'm glad they waited a little bit, played with the technology, and given us something that not only is visually stunning, but I hope is also on a gameplay standpoint is going to be pretty nice.
Couldn't have said that better myself. And with that nugget of wisdom, we will wrap this up for good. So, joining me today was Protege Deluxe.
It's me, baby. Glad to be a part. Now that we can do this over Discord, I'm available more. Hit me up. I'd love to be on here with the other homies as well. And yeah, that's it. I hope y'all have a good day.
Oh yeah. He has been Protege Deluxe. I have been Mick Whoopi Goldberg. And this has been the Bottom of the Pit podcast, where we look to the moon and swap our palettes. and we will see you on
The answer
the
lies
next one.
in the heart of the battle.